There exists a prison so terrifying that even the word hell feels merciful in comparison. Hell, at least, is spoken of as a place with an exit for the redeemed. This fortress offers none. Once someone crosses its steel-fortified threshold, hope is no longer a concept, and freedom becomes nothing more than a forgotten tale. Inside these towering walls lie men whose names once echoed like nightmares, cold-blooded killers, ruthless warlords, and gang commanders who once ruled entire territories through bloodshed, fear, and unrelenting brutality. Here, humanity did not simply fade, it was buried without ceremony. This colossal structure, capable of swallowing 40,000 inmates, stands as the final destination for those who have drenched the world in terror. Some have taken a single life, others 10, others 50 or more, each of them a living chapter of violence that escalates beyond comprehension. Many crossed the brink where human morality collapses and cruelty becomes their identity. These men are not seen as criminals anymore. They are regarded as predators, born without fear, remorse, or the slightest regard for the value of life. Welcome to the cecOT Supermax prison of El Salvador, a place engineered with only one purpose: to imprison the most dangerous individuals on Earth until death claims them naturally. This is where murderers breathe their final breath, far removed from forgiveness, redemption, or a second chance. In a country with barely 6 million people, one question haunts every mind: why does such a massive prison exist? The answer: the gangs. Once the hidden rulers of the nation, everything changed under the leadership of President Nayib Bukele. In March 2022, a relentless nationwide crackdown began, turning the streets into a net from which escape was impossible. Within just 16 months, nearly 70,000 people were arrested, almost 2% of the adult population. Day and night, soldiers and police raided homes, seized suspects, and packed them into buses like silent livestock. Heads down, wrists bound, they moved without protest, as if their souls had already surrendered. In a single night, thousands lost their identity, their world, and their future. They were no longer citizens, they were evidence. Running this living graveyard requires absolute, unforgiving security. Once admitted, a prisoner no longer belongs to the outside world. Built in 2022, the prison covers 410 acres and is divided into 8 isolated sectors, each surrounded by dual 3-meter concrete walls layered with razor-sharp wiring. Beyond that stands a 15-meter-high perimeter wall, reinforced by a 3-meter-tall electric barrier, delivering 15,000 volts, enough to erase the thought of escape before it even forms. 19 watchtowers operate day and night, designed not merely to stop escape, but to destroy the idea of it. Communication signals are jammed across a 2-kilometer radius, and 600 soldiers protect the exterior perimeter, like guardians of a cursed secret. Before entering, every possession, every trace of personal identity must be surrendered. Each new prisoner undergoes full-body X-ray and scanning technology capable of detecting objects as small as a memory chip. Even if swallowed, hidden beneath skin, or fused into clothing, nothing escapes its gaze, not even a ring with microscopic detailing. As for the guards, their faces must remain hidden forever, for a single exposed identity could unleash retaliation from the outside, where loyal gang members still breathe vengeance. Yet one officer once dared to reveal part of his face, whispering, "I must look them in the eye, they know who I am." A chilling truth hung between his words. Fear was no longer a one-sided phenomenon. The first stop for every detainee is the registration chamber. Here, stripped of all humanity, their fingerprints, photographs, and permanent digital records are taken. At that moment, their connection to family ends forever. No visits, no letters, no final goodbye. Some prisoners, tragically, are innocent victims of mistaken detention. Their families may never know whether they live or have already vanished into history's silent shadows. For them, perhaps a leaked footage, a news clip, or a blurry image becomes the only lifeline of hope. One section of the prison houses the armory, a cold room, where violence sleeps behind steel until needed. Lined along the walls are T-65 rifles, shotguns, and short-barrel weapons crafted for narrow hallways and close-quarter combat, should chaos ever erupt within this fortress of despair. This is not simply a prison, it is a monument built from fear, a kingdom ruled by silence, a place where time does not pass, Inside this prison, even movement is treated as a privilege. The inmates' hands and feet are kept bound not as punishment, but as a shield for the guards who stand mere inches away from the most violent men alive. Every corner is armed with anti-riot gear, bulletproof vests, reinforced helmets, shields, and protective guards designed to withstand sudden murderous attacks. No one has escaped from this fortress, not once yet. Preparations never cease. Experience has taught the authorities that desperate men can turn even scraps of everyday life into weapons. Here, vigilance is not a choice, it is survival. When prisoners are transported, buses rumble through narrow paths paved with cobblestones. Every footstep, every wheel turn, echoes through the stone like a silent alarm. Nothing in this prison happens quietly. Sound itself becomes a guard. The entire facility is self-sustaining, its own power supply, its own water reserves. Should the outside world vanish tomorrow, this place would continue to operate for weeks, sealed like a bunker built for the apocalypse. To stand before these inmates is to feel fear at its purest form. Housing modules 3 and 4 lie side by side, holding between 200 and 500 prisoners each. Their eyes, empty yet alert, measure every newcomer with suspicion, hatred, and the faint, twisted hope of dominance. The sensation is indescribable, like being watched by a pack of starving wolves dressed in identical white shirts, shorts, and plastic sandals. No personal belongings, no individuality, no fragments of the life they once lived. Most are young, yet their crimes echo horrors older than their age, some responsible for over 100 deaths, others infamous enough to overshadow history's most notorious killers. Inside this prison, even movement is treated as a privilege. The inmates' hands and feet are kept bound not as punishment, but as a shield for the guards who stand mere inches away from the most violent men alive. Every corner is armed with anti-riot gear, bulletproof vests, reinforced helmets, shields, and protective guards designed to withstand sudden murderous attacks. No one has escaped from this fortress, not once yet. Preparations never cease. Experience has taught the authorities that desperate men can turn even scraps of everyday life into weapons. Here, vigilance is not a choice, it is survival. When prisoners are transported, buses rumble through narrow paths paved with cobblestones. Every footstep, every wheel turn, echoes through the stone like a silent alarm. Nothing in this prison happens quietly. Sound itself becomes a guard. The entire facility is self-sustaining, its own power supply, its own water reserves. Should the outside world vanish tomorrow, this place would continue to operate for weeks, sealed like a bunker built for the apocalypse. To stand before these inmates is to feel fear at its purest form. Housing modules 3 and 4 lie side by side, holding between 200 and 500 prisoners each. Their eyes, empty yet alert, measure every newcomer with suspicion, hatred, and the faint, twisted hope of dominance. The sensation is indescribably like being watched by a pack of starving wolves dressed in identical white shirts, shorts, and plastic sandals. No personal belongings, no individuality, no fragments of the life they once lived. Most are young, yet their crimes echo horrors older than their age, some responsible for over 100 deaths, others infamous enough to overshadow history's most notorious killers. In this place, even questions can be forbidden. Words, if spoken at the wrong time, can lead to brutal punishment. Silence has become law. Behind those steel bars stand some of the cruelest minds on earth. Now imagine what this world would look like if those cells were empty, if the monsters behind those doors were free again. The prison consists of 8 total modules, each containing 32 cells. Inside each cell, 80 to 150 men are crammed together, sharing only 0.5 square meters of personal space. No sunlight, no breeze, no open sky, only suffocating darkness and recycled breath. These men are not serving sentences. They are living out their entire lives within walls that are deliberately designed to erase hope. Look closely and you will see the emptiness behind their eyes, souls stripped to their final, silent lair. At the far end of every cell lies the sanitation area, 2 toilets for more than 80 men. Feces and urine merge into the same unclean drains. A single plastic cup is shared. Water tanks are rationed. There is no running water. Beds are nothing more than steel frames tightened with multi-layer metal belts. No pillow, no mattress, only a thin white sheet. Here, rest looks less like sleep and more like storage. Every 2 weeks, their heads are shaved and facial hair removed. No strands allowed. No space for hiding contraband. Inside these walls live former MS-13 and Barrio-18 members, to rival gangs that once ruled the streets like warlords. Their legacy is now reduced to a memory branded on their skin. Power has expired. Coexistence is mandatory. Tattoos narrate their past allegiance. The letters M or 13 mark MS-13, while 18 or 66 signify Barrio-18, sometimes inked in Roman numerals. High-ranking members wear full-face tattoos, a permanent crown of terror. To cross their path once meant a fate worse than death. A spiderweb tattoo reveals they were trapped by law. Demon horns show devotion to dark occult ideology. Every teardrop inked beneath an eye symbolizes a life taken. 3 or more drops mean massacres. A clown mask tattoo declares cruelty as entertainment. These are minds beyond rehabilitations, souls twisted beyond repair. Above the cells runs the guard corridor, constantly monitored by surveillance cameras. Lights remain on 24 hours a day, forcing prisoners to sleep with towels wrapped around their eyes. Once a week, a small, heavily supervised group is selected for Bible study and exercise a fleeting taste of movement within a life designed to remain still. So far, no major incident has occurred, but in a place built entirely on tension, whenever prisoners are escorted outside their cells, they try to stare directly into surveillance cameras, silently sending messages to the outside world, proof that their gangs still breathe, still control, still wait. Rumors swirl like smoke in the wind, whispers that gang members beyond these walls might unleash violent attacks on civilians. The government has issued an unshakable warning: if the gangs strike, not even a single grain of rice will reach their imprisoned brothers. Inside these walls, food is not comfort, it is merely fuel. 3 times a day, inmates are served the same bland meal: rice with beans, or rice with noodles, always paired with plain water. No protein, no nutrition, no taste. They eat with their hands, finish every grain, wash their trays, and return them because nothing inside this fortress can be wasted, not even routine. Near the main blocks stands the most feared location of all, the solitary confinement wing, a place known not for punishment, but for psychological destruction. Those who violate even the smallest rule are sent there for up to 15 days. There is no bed, only a slab of freezing concrete. Time becomes an illusion. The darkness is absolute, thick enough to feel like a second skin. A filthy toilet, a small water tank, and a narrow slit for air, the only doorway between life and madness. Food is passed through a tiny mesh opening, never allowing even a fingertip of contact. In that darkness, inmates can't even see their own hands. Minds fracture, thoughts collapse, pride dissolves, and the men who once decided the life and death of others finally face their own powerlessness. Among the tens of thousands of inmates, one name travels like a ghost through concrete corridors: Marvin Ernesto, known to all as Psycho. One man feared so deeply that 12 guards are assigned exclusively to him. At 41, he still carries a youthful face, but behind his calm stare lies a chilling, unreadable silence, as though guilt has been carved into his skin. When questioned about his tattoos, he quietly raises his arm, revealing the mark M3, a symbol of one of the world's most feared gangs. His journey into the underworld began not at adulthood, but at age 11, when poverty, fatherlessness, and a desperate hunger for belonging pushed him into the shadows. He learned to steal for survival, eventually crossing borders to America in search of a new beginning. But the world he wanted to escape was waiting for him there, in stronger form, an empire of violence, where loyalty demanded blood, even if it meant killing one's own family. He could have built a life with his loved ones. Instead, he chose the path where tomorrow never belongs to anyone. Now, he delivers a message for the next generation: go to school, listen to your parents, don't follow my path. When asked how many lives he has taken, he remains silent. His eyes lower, a single, slow shake of the head replaces his confession. Some truths are too monstrous for words. His only heartbreak is family, a memory he cannot erase. The last time he saw his son, the boy was 5. Today, he is 21. Marvin dreams of telling him just one thing: do not become your father. His eyes carry sorrow, regret, and the faint light of awakening. His only purpose now, he claims, is spiritual redemption, begging God to forgive the sins that no human ever will. At the end of a long hallway, a tiny beam of sunlight slips through a vent, illuminating the dust like a final, unreachable escape route. cecOT is not merely a prison, it is a cemetery of the living, where the bodies still breathe but the futures have died. Once, many of these men stole thousands of lives. Now, they count the slow decay of their own. The government of El Salvador shows no sympathy, no mercy, and no hesitation. Every inch of punishment is intentional, unapologetic, and absolute. Once, the country carried a horrific death rate, 104 murders per 100,000 people. Today, that number has shockingly fallen to just 2.41, transforming El Salvador into one of the safest nations on the planet. A triumph, many say. A miracle, others call it, but a whisper remains, like a question echoing through silent concrete. What happens to the innocent who were mistakenly swallowed by this machine? Is this true justice? Or simply fear, weaponized? Is this the cure? Or merely a temporary silence before the storm returns? If you liked the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned.